Let's move on to antisocial behaviour on public transport and elsewhere. Now, Cormac, both you and I have seen from the Dunleary constituency footage of a guy having the lard beaten out of him on Dunleary Dart Station platform. And we only know that because someone was on the other side of the barrier, safe enough from the attack to put it out there.
Yeah.
It is a problem, but one which, for example, Senator Barry Ward dismissed as being like a significant problem. Dublin, one of the safest cities in Europe.
No, look, unfortunately and sadly to say, those type of attacks, and they are criminal attacks, are too frequent. And we've seen it in the last couple of weeks. We saw it after the Bray Air show. Unfortunately, there were incidents on the Dart line and on the platforms. We've seen it recently on the bus going into Dublin Southwest. So we have to ensure that there is a better policing system. In fact, this summer, Fianna Fáil have a public transport survey asking for the public, it's available on our website, asking for the public for their opinions on what they've observed or what's happened to them on public transport. And I think it is important really for us to ensure we get a dedicated public transport police service.
The Gardaí have dismissed that.
I heard the Commissioner's comments. He was dismissive at present, and I think that's due to resources. But that's something that can be done by government, that can be increased in terms of funding and in terms of recruitment, but something has to be done because the private security, while they're doing their best, there are operators, the staff of the transport providers are being attacked as well as the public, and it's just not simply
Louise?
not good enough.
Yeah, we do need absolutely to establish a Garda presence, and I think a specific Garda unit, a transport unit, is what's needed. But the truth is, the government are all over the place on this. I mean, Cormac is saying he supports the idea of a specific transport police service, but others from government and government representatives have said that they don't. I think that really they need to get their lines straight before they come out and start talking, because it's getting to the stage now where people won't want to travel on public transport because we're hearing more and more of these incidents. The truth is, Dublin is a safe place to be, but public transport, there is a problem there, and the MBRU and ZIP2 have been shouting about this for years. In the last week,
doesn't it depend on the Dublin that you inhabit? I mean, we've when we were talking about this during the week, people saying they don't feel safe knocking around the boardwalk, they don't feel safe crossing the bridge at Merchants Quay, they don't feel safe knocking around the GPO, they don't see a Garda presence anywhere. The Gardaí themselves then text in and say we're finding it difficult even to get people to drive a patrol car out because we just simply don't have the personnel.
But that's the point. You see, the Gardaí we need to see more Gardaí on the streets, but we also need to see a sustained investment. And I would like to see the guards between the Minister for Justice and the Minister for Transport actually take a good long hard look at this. So your Garda unit to look at transport, it's not just to be sitting. I heard a councillor the other day saying, should they be sitting on the Lewis just going all over town doing nothing? That is not the case, but they will be able to examine areas if there are areas that there are a particular problem and put a policing plan in place to
Fionnán?
ensure that we make them safer.
I recall on the bank holiday weekend recently been on a dart, bunch of young fellas trying to kick the door in. They were drunk, they're smoking. So I look around for the sign. There's a text service. So I texted the service a running update of what was happening. I was waiting for the helicopter with the SWAT team to come swooping in. I've never received any acknowledgement of those messages. Nobody ever rang me to follow up. Nothing. And as far as I'm concerned, that narrative that there's a way of reporting these things is a complete and utter waste of time.
Window dressing.
This is a Garda policing problem. I've heard commentary during the week saying, well, the one place you won't find a guard is on the public transport system, and you kind of have to say, well, why not? That is part of the city, it's part of the country, it's part of the public realm. There are people there are crimes taking place, therefore it's a Garda problem. So whatever about a designated policing force, I think it is a policing issue. And if our policing resources are not keeping up with the growth in the population, well then that is a funding and recruitment issue fundamentally.
Some of the texts coming in, I own 3 businesses in Dublin. It's a disgrace. Minor aggro and major aggro everywhere. So why do the people in power keep on insisting that ordinary citizens who report to us are supposed to feel safe when clearly they don't feel safe, whatever the reality is about the stats that are gathered internationally.
No,
Louise.
people don't feel safe, and I think that what they don't need is kite flying by the government. One saying that we're going to look at transport policing, then another saying that we're not. I think they need to know that there is someone in government, one person, for the love and honour of God, taking a strategic look at this, because people don't feel safe, and people deserve to feel safe, not just in their capital city.
But you said it was
right
safe, And
I believe that Dublin is on balance a safe place. However, there are issues with public transport, and there are issues with certain areas that need to be tackled, and they will be tackled by an increased Garda presence. But the Gardaí are spread so thin at the moment, they're not able to do that work. We urgently need more Gardaí.
And the guards, the guards operated a Operation Twin Track. There was 2 days, and they are doing their best, and they cooperate with security teams on the Lewis and on the Dart, which is great. But predominantly that's evening time. Antisocial behaviour, such as the incident that Fionnán's described and others, people have had hurled abuse at them when they're on the Dart. People are scared to bring their families on. This is a time where we're encouraging more people to use public transport.
But don't forget, when the guards did respond to all of those complaints, there were a very limited number of arrests.
But one of the reasons
they decided that it wasn't criminal behaviour. It's like the backchat that teenagers will give to guards. They have no fear. And then maybe they shouldn't be afraid of policemen. But I don't know if you can give backchat to a guard and get away with it. Where does that lead you?
Well, look, I think the presence itself is important. This is something the Fianna Fáil campaigned for in the general election. It was in our manifesto, and I think it's something that we are keen to see, and we want to deliver on.
The station I feel safest in Dublin is actually Connolly, because it has got a raft of security, and I've seen incidents kick off there. And the private security are on top of it pretty fast. It's policed all day. There's extra resources on there at night and at weekend. So it can actually work if you're policing a situation properly. But there are, as you say, there are particular routes. There are particular times where you need it. You don't need people on I doubt you need an armed guard on the 46A coming in and out.
So the idea is where the stuff is recurring, that's when you need maybe undercover
data analysis and
but that's what a policing
patterns.
authority, a transport policing authority is going to have or a transport policing unit will have the chance to do, is take a long-term strategic look at issues where there are issues and put a plan in place to deal with them.